Okay, I've been getting a lot of questions on Amendment 1, so I just wanted to help you guys kind of figure out what's going on here. I am currently logged into HelpSolarPower.org. I was just looking at some viewers' pics. There's a lot of pictures that I guess viewers send in that I thought were kind of cool. But anyhow, let's take a look at what Amendment 1 is all about, and hopefully I can help you guys answer some questions. If you go on to here, we have Amendment 1 for Dummies. So this will kind of give you a basic little outline of what this amendment is all about. So basically, I'm just going to read it for you from the beginning since it's pretty easy to read. Amendment 101. If you are confused by Amendment 1 on the Florida ballot for 2016, the utility company's goal was accomplished. And we have here some quick facts about Solar Power Amendment 1. Quick facts about Solar Power Amendment 1 on Florida's November 2016 ballot. 1. Amendment 1 was sponsored by the big utility companies to help the big utility companies. Amendment 1, if passed, would hurt solar power in Florida and increase the cost of electricity for all Floridians. And then it gives you a little link here so you can go into the myflorida.com elections candidate committee campaign finance, so you can find out who all the donors are. But I'll be showing you in a little bit as we scroll down. Number 2, consumers without solar do not subsidize the cost of electric grid access to those who do, just like SUV drivers do not subsidize the cost of gasoline access for people who ride the bus, motorcycles, or drive more fuel-efficient vehicles. Consumers with solar power use less power, decrease demand, increase supply, and reduce electricity prices for everyone. Lower electricity prices help consumers, not electric companies. This is why the power companies are spending more than $16 million misleading and deceiving voters in Florida. The statement that solar power raises electricity prices is a pants-on-fire lie. And there's a link here so you can go to PolitiFact, and you can see that that statement has been rated a pants-on-fire lie. So as we scroll down over here, we take a look at the donors. And if you can see, top donors are Florida Power and Light. They donated $4.145 million. Duke Energy donated $3.987 million. Tampa Electric donated $2.352 million. And Gulf Power and Light donated $1.659 million. So we're talking over $16 million here donated by the big power companies. So as you can see, consumers for smart solar should really be called utilities against solar. Don't be fooled. Vote no on 1 in November. And there's another little diagram here showing you consumers for smart solar is also known as yes on 1. These are the little signs that you'll see and the little videos that they have here posted on YouTube. But anyhow, yes on 1 is sponsored by Duke Energy, FP&L, Tampa Electric, Koch Brothers, ExxonMobil, Gulf Power and Light. So as you can see, there are no consumers basically sponsoring this. This amendment is sponsored strictly by utility companies. And these links here are actually for newspaper articles. It says here more than 3,000 articles have exposed Amendment 1 as a utility-backed sham solar amendment that is purposely misleading and would only hurt solar power in the Sunshine State. So there's a link of a whole bunch of newspapers from everywhere. I mean, you can see Tampa Bay Times, Orlando Sentinel, Naples News, Tech Dirt, Miami Herald, Brandon News, Huffington Post, Gainesville. I mean, there's a bunch of newspapers here, tons of links. Here we go. So it says a simple Google search would show hundreds of articles explaining why this sham solar amendment will only hurt consumers, solar power, and jobs in Florida. All right, Amendment 1 will not promote solar. In fact, it will do just the opposite. Amendment 1 is a blatant bait and switch amendment designed to fool and confuse voters. And I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to show you exactly what they're talking about here. If you notice, the first 2 sentences of this amendment are blatant bait and switch. They're saying 2 things at the very beginning that sound pro-solar and pro-consumers, but in fact, they are not giving you anything new. They're not giving you any new rights that you don't already have. It says here, rights of electricity consumers regarding solar choice. All right, so here's debate. This amendment establishes a right under Florida's Constitution for consumers to own or lease solar equipment installed on their property to generate electricity for their own use. Okay, this is already a given. This is nothing new. Solar panels are not banned anywhere in the United States. Anybody can buy them. Anybody can generate their own electricity. So this is blatant bait and switch. The only reason they put this on here is to make it sound pro-solar. But in fact, they're not giving you any new rights that you don't already have. If you keep looking down, the next one says state and local governments shall retain their abilities to protect consumer rights and public health, safety, and welfare. So shall retain their abilities. So basically, again, nothing new. They just added this sentence here to make it sound like consumers are going to be getting some new protections that they don't already have. Again, this is blatant bait and switch. The first sentence sounds pro-solar. The second sentence sounds pro-consumer. It sounds like they're giving new rights to solar owners, and it sounds like they're going to be protecting consumers. When in fact, the only ones who they're going to be helping are the big utility companies. If you can see here in the switch, which is the last sentence, it says, and to ensure that consumers who do not choose to install solar are not required to subsidize. Subsidize being the key word here. To subsidize the cost of backup power and electric grid access to those who do. So basically what they are trying to say here is that somehow people who don't have solar are subsidizing the cost of electric grid access to those who do. This is complete nonsense. This is completely false. Amendment 1 provides no new rights to have solar power in Florida. We already have the right to own or lease solar equipment installed on our property to generate electricity for our own use. State and local governments already have the right and ability to protect consumers' rights and public health, safety, and welfare. The only reason this portion was included on the beginning of this proposed amendment is to mislead the public into thinking this amendment is pro-solar and would help solar power in Florida. This amendment only gives new rights to electric companies and does nothing to help solar power or consumers in Florida. Notice the proposed amendment says nothing about selling excess power to generate. Basically, this is talking here about net metering. The way that solar power works is, if you see here, if you have electric panels on your roof, you are generating power during the day, and this power is being sold to the electric companies during the day, and then you buy the power back at night. So if you see here the utility bill, let's say your original bill was $118 a month, and the power company buys back 107 of that, then your bill is only $10.75. So basically, this is what makes solar power feasible. So by getting rid of net metering, basically what you're doing is you're making solar power no longer work for people. It takes away the reasons for. This keeps going on into more detail, and it says why such a deceiving amendment was even allowed on the ballot. And you have an explanation of why. And I'm sure, as you can tell from that picture, our Governor Dick here was sponsored by Duke Energy. So he's not going to do anything at all. It actually says an analysis of campaign records by the Florida Center for Investigative Reporting shows that utility companies have sunk $12 million into the campaigns of state lawmakers since 2010. So now you know why this amendment was even allowed on the ballot, why something that was so blatantly misleading was allowed on the ballot. I'm going to keep going all the way down. You guys can log into HelpSolarPower.org if you want to see this in full, but there's a ton of videos here explaining exactly what happened. That's HelpSolarPower.org. And I'm going to go into this here real quick. I like this here because this gives a nice example. Consumers without solar power do not subsidize the cost of electric grid access to those who do, just like SUV drivers do not subsidize the cost of gasoline access for people who ride the bus, ride motorcycles, or drive more fuel efficient vehicles. Basically, this is complete nonsense. People who produce solar power, consumers with solar power use less power. They decrease demand, increase supply, and reduce electricity prices for everyone. So here, I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see this. Consumer with solar power use less power, decrease demand, increase supply, and reduce electricity prices for everyone. Lower electricity prices help consumers, not electric companies. This is why the power companies are spending more than $16 million misleading and deceiving voters in Florida. And again, I mentioned this at the top. The statement that solar power raises electricity prices is a pants on fire lie. This website here has a ton of good info. So if you guys are interested, you can log into HelpSolarPower.org. That's HelpSolarPower.org. If you want to help solar power in Florida, make sure you vote no on Amendment 1 on the November ballot. So make sure you vote no on Amendment 1 on the November 2016 ballot in Florida. Amendment 1, again, is not pro-solar, as you can see from here. It's a big utility sham, basically designed to kill solar power in Florida and to raise everybody's electric bills. What they want is they want to continue to have rates higher. They don't want more supply put into their grid, because more supply and less demand equals lower prices for everyone. So the more solar power, the less expensive electricity is going to be, and the less money these power companies are gonna make. So I hope that I've helped to explain what Amendment 1 is all about. I hope you basically have woken up to the fact that it's not pro-solar. It's a sham. It's a scam. It was sponsored by the big utility companies with the goal of misleading and fooling people into thinking this is pro-solar, which again, it's not. Please take a look at HelpSolarPower.org for more info. That's HelpSolarPower.org, and vote no on November 2016 on Amendment 1. No on Amendment 1.